Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Providend's Money Wisdom Podcast. I'm your host, Isaac, Client Advisor at Providend. Joining with me today is Christopher Tan, Founder and CEO of Providend. Hi Chris.
Hi Isaac, it's good to be back.
Yeah, so I have been away for a while. I've not been hosting for a few episodes.
Yeah, we think you didn't pass the test, so we decided to ground you. Okay, no, we're just joking.
Yeah, so Jin has been co-hosting and she's really been doing a good job. And so why there's a delay is because when preparing for this series, there's a lot of back and forth. So we're trying to really fine-tune it, and thankfully everything is okay already, and we are very excited to get this started.
Yeah, it's a tough series to do, but let's go and do this series.
Today's episode is the first of a 9-part series that covers the wealth management journey of our clients. It's a collection of all the stories that our clients and prospective clients share with us and our experiences working together with them. We believe that this will shed a light on why our clients were looking for guidance in the first place, what challenges they were facing prior to meeting us, and also how we were able to guide them to achieve their life goals. We hope that by watching or listening to this series, you'll find something that resonates with you and provide some insights that you'll find interesting. As these episodes are sequential, I hope that you will like and subscribe, and so that you will ensure that you don't miss out on any of our episodes. In this pilot episode, we will first be talking about our clients and why they are looking for guidance in their wealth management journey. So let's begin with who are the clients that we typically serve.
Yeah, I think because of our fee-only model, and this is not the first time I'm saying it, because of our fee-only model, we mainly serve the affluent clients, right? It's not because we don't care about people who has got lesser money, but really because people generally who has got lesser money, their financial life is a lot simpler, right? And they really don't have to pay us a fee to get advice, right? In fact, we have got people who come to us and they call us and then they ask for some general advice, and we usually give it to them and we point them to how they can do it on their own. And usually they are quite appreciative that, we don't have to bring them in, charge them a fee just to do simple work like this. So as I was saying, Isaac, most of our clients are affluent. So if I can broadly categorize our clients, it would be the mass affluent. These are the people who are usually in their mid-30s or late 30s, very successful professional, and they are generally very good income earners, right? So they could be senior management, they could be doctors, lawyers, engineers, professionals. And they are usually people with young families, and they are like sandwich, right? Because they have their parents are still around, but they have children that they need to take care of. So there are a lot of expenses, but at the same time, they need to plan for the long term. And of course, as a second group of our clients, we call them the affluent. Earlier was mass affluent, now this is the affluent clients. And in our company, we call them the bespoke clients because they come really looking for bespoke advice. Right. They are usually people who are in their late 40s or even in the early 50s. Of course, we have clients even in the mid-60s and or late 50s. Generally, these clients are very near retirement, or some of them might be in retirement already. Their children are usually quite grown up. And so they are really now planning to slow down. They are looking for a plan whereby they can withdraw and enjoy their retirement. Plenty of needs, not just in terms of investments, but different areas such as insurance, investments, even legacy, estate. So they are really looking for a very holistic, comprehensive plan. And the third category of clients that we serve, they are the ultra affluent, or sometimes we call them the ultra high net worth. Well, in Providend, we call them the private wealth. And these are clients, mostly, I would say, in the late 50s or early 60s. But interestingly, we are seeing more and more younger people whom somehow they are ultra high net worth, right? They have been very successful maybe in their business or in their career, and today they are ultra high net worth. Now, these clients, besides having similar needs like the bespoke clients or the affluent clients that I just mentioned, I think what they do have is that they have more than actually what they really need, right? And they are thinking deeply about, so what do I do with these extra resources that I need? Because I don't need to spend every cent, right? So they come to us for advice. And of course, amongst these clients, we do have mostly are locals, but we have a lot of expats, and they are foreigners who are working here, really looking for wealth advice, because they would have maybe wealth in Singapore and also wealth where they come from. And finally, I would say that we also have clients who come to us because they inherit a large sum of money, because unfortunately someone that they love passed away, and so they receive an estate. And they are really looking at prudently managing this money because they know that this money, it's really passed down to them with love, and they want to be responsible. They want to be good stewards, right? Our clients are mostly people who are good stewards. They are very conservative, usually families. And the one thing I observe about the people that we serve is that they want to be very responsible with the money that they have.
Yeah. On your last point on receiving an inheritance, like a lot of people when they come in and we receive a huge inheritance, they feel very stressed out, because, from, they could be earning normal income, quote unquote normal income,
Some of
but
them, yes, yeah.
And suddenly they have this
They
responsibility.
receive much wealth, right?
Yeah.
And they know that the wealth doesn't really belong to them in a sense, right?
Yeah. Sometimes they are tasked to take care of their brothers, their sisters,
That's right.
or their nephews.
That's right.
So it's something that is really stressful for them.
Yeah. So in their search, I have to say that they don't, because this money is very important for them. They usually go on a search. They go to different places. They may go to the banks, they may go to other advisors, they will come to us. Because for them, they are really looking for someone that they can trust, because this money, like you mentioned, is handed over to them, and many times it's not just for themselves. It's also for the people that they have to take care.
Yeah.
Right? So they are really looking for somebody who will be prudently managing their wealth. Somebody that even the philosophies and the principles they can align with.
Right. So regarding their profiles in terms of their career, who are they? What kind of jobs are they typically working at? Yeah,
like I said, the mass affluents, they are mostly professionals. And when I say professionals, they don't really need to be just doctors, lawyers, and all that. They could be very successful, for example, even salespeople, marketing people in their own right. Increasingly, we are seeing a lot of people in the tech sector, right? Because over the past decade, the technology sector has done very well, and people, they have good careers, right? And they make a lot of money, but they are so busy, right? And because they are so busy, they really just need to find someone to help them. So that's the professionals. But of course, these professionals over time, they become older, they are near retirement. Then they come in and they are our bespoke clients, or they are our more affluent clients. And even some, they have their own business. They are ultra high net worth clients. We do have a number of clients who are business owners, right? And they have successfully sold off their business, so they have received much wealth. Or some of them, they are looking at an exit plan. How do you integrate the exit of their business with their personal wealth plan? So that's something that we can help as well.
Yeah, so we see that they have a lot of success in their career. They're typically making quite a lot of money. So the question is, why do they look for a wealth advisor then?
I think it's a good question. There are different reasons, really. For some people, they might be very good in their own area of work, right? But when it comes to personal finance, when it comes to investing, they might not have the knowledge, and they might not have the experience. The one thing I notice about professionals and very successful people is that they know their strengths, they also know their weaknesses. They don't try and hide it, right? And they are very happy to actually pay someone and engage someone who will know better than them to do the work. I see that as the defining factor of very successful people, right? Because the fact is, we cannot be an expert in every area and try and do everything ourselves, right? So there's a group of our clients, they realize that, I'm just not good at this. Let's find someone that is good, and then I outsource to them. So they come. So they don't have the knowledge. They may not have the experience. And Isaac, you are a client advisor, and over the past few years, you have been in many meetings. I'm sure you have met clients who are also very savvy. And they actually know what investing is all about, right?
Yep.
they still decide to find an advisor, well, either because they don't have time, and as they get older, they know that, especially in the area of investing, it's tough, and therefore they rather find someone to do it for them. They rather pay a fee to someone to do it for them, so that they have more time now to do the things that they really want. This especially applies to people who are older. I can understand. I mean, I'm not that old, right? But I'm reaching an age whereby I know that I'm near my life expectancy. I don't have a lot of time, right? And with the little time that I'm left with, right? I'm 54 this year, no secret. Average life expectancy is 85. And usually in the last 10 years of a person's life, usually we are physically not so strong. We can't do a lot of things that we want to do. And what that means for me, Isaac, is that I've got 20 years left, right? From 54 to 75,
Yep.
whereby I can do all the things that I want to do. I'm still strong. I can travel. I can do meaningful work. And so for these people, they are really looking at, okay, so I'm left with 20 years. Do I really want to spend a lot of time trying to look at the markets and invest? And obviously for many of them, the answer is no. Right? They said, okay, I get someone to do it. I'll spend these 20 years doing things that I really enjoy doing.
Right. A lot of, or rather the top thing that clients share with us is that they want to create more experiences with their families, create more memories with their families.
Yeah.
And managing wealth can be very time consuming. If you have to watch the markets every day, you have to keep balancing your asset allocation, for example.
And there's a third reason why I think clients still go and see an advisor, and that is, again, not many of us are an expert in all areas. So we have clients who are very savvy, investment savvy, and sometimes they're looking for someone to bounce ideas with, right, to check whether they are right themselves. But they also realize that whilst they are very good in investing, personal wealth is not just about investing, right? There are many areas, there's so many areas of our personal wealth that needs to be integrated together. They cannot be done in a piecemeal manner. Things like insurance planning, legacy, estate, putting up a will. Some of our clients need to set up a trust, doing lasting power attorney, LPA, starting their advanced care planning, and general financial planning like mortgage, cash flow, retirement planning, all these things. Right? It's so varied, right?
Yeah.
So when a client comes to us, they are not just looking for an investment expert. They are looking at someone who is able to piece these different parts of their wealth plan together into a coherent plan. Yeah. So that's the reason why they come.
Yeah, calculating the financial trade-offs, like, if I were to invest my money, or what will I have, what's the trade-off? That's the easy part, right? The hard part is really to help the clients make the decisions that would help them to live a good life, right? And
also defining a good life. Some questions are very hard to ask yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why we always say that, people cannot coach themselves. They need to get a coach, right? Even in executive coaching, it's very difficult. I'm trained in coaching, but I can't coach myself, right? Because it's very difficult to ask ourselves difficult questions, right? So I think these clients come because they see the value in getting someone to challenge them with questions that they might never ask themselves, to help them make the tough decisions.
Right. So in terms of the differences, right? So you're sharing about the three different segments: mass affluent, the affluent, and of course the high net worth, ultra high net worth segment. So what are the differences between these three segments?
I think it's the kind of work, right? So for the mass affluent, like I mentioned, they are more likely the sandwich generation. They are successful professionals, very busy at work. They've got children, likely in their primary school or maybe secondary school. Okay, and then they've got parents who are aging, right? And so usually when they come, like you mentioned earlier, they are looking for trade-offs, right? So they earn that amount of money. They earn that $1 salary, for example. They are really looking at the trade-offs of spending it today on things that really matters to them. And in my earlier episode, I would say that they want to spend on things that give them the ikigai kan, while having enough surplus to save for tomorrow, right? Because life begins today. Life doesn't begin tomorrow, and we also do not know how long we will live, right? So for this group of people, we do a lot of that kind of work, right? We first try and find out for them, what are the things that matters to them? What are the things that give them that ikigai kan? Okay, what are the money? How much money is needed to support that? And leaving the surplus for tomorrow. And then they look at the trade-off, because the more they want today, the lesser they have tomorrow, and vice versa. Of course, for people at that age, they are also accumulators, and they are looking at what can cause their plan to fail. Life risk, premature death, unplanned disability, a dread disease. What will happen to them? What will happen to the family if things like that happen? So they are looking also at risk-proofing their plan, right? And of course, because they know life is uncertain, they are also looking at putting in place an estate plan. So this would be mainly the work, a lot of cash flow modeling, financial trade-offs, making sure that they can live the life tomorrow while living the life today, and all the other areas of the financial wealth space, like I say, like risk management and all that. So we do a lot of the work for them. For people who are the affluent, and they are usually also high net worth, like I mentioned earlier, they are older, so they are near retiree. So they are maybe 2 to 5 years before retirement, already in retirement. And these people have accumulated assets. I'm sure you've seen them.
Yeah.
Right? They have got properties, CPF, insurance plans that they have bought. They may have investments that they have invested, cash, and many, many assets. Right? But the question in their mind right now is, how do I spend down?
Yeah, I mean, the accumulation part is the easy part.
It's the easy part.
I mean, you just, of course, find the right asset allocation for your risk appetite, stay invested, keep adding to it. But when you're starting to draw down, that's where it gets a bit complicated.
Yeah, and you are right to say that accumulating is the easier part, not the easy part, but the easier part, right? But when in retirement, they cannot make mistakes. The cost of mistake can be too detrimental, right? Because there will come a point in time whereby they are no longer earning an income, right? So they are really looking to put in place a spending plan, and that's what we do for them. Right, so we integrate all their different assets into a spending plan, telling them which assets to spend down first, mitigating the 5 risks of a retiree, which is longevity risk, the risk of living too long and then you don't have enough money, inflation risk, which is very real over the last few years, making sure that their spending power is still the same, healthcare risk, making sure that if they fall sick, they have enough money to take care of themselves, investment risk, making sure that they don't get out at the wrong time, right? And they're able to stay invested to get the returns that they need. And the 5th risk is overspending risk.
Overspending and underspending risk.
Overspending at the earlier stage of the retirement, not leaving enough later on, right? So for this group of people, we do a lot of that kind of work. Plus, of course, because they are aging, of course, we do legacy and estate planning. They are nearer and nearer to the end point. So we do that as well. And finally, for the private wealth clients who are really the ultra high net worth, besides all the things that I mentioned earlier for the affluent clients, like I said earlier, a lot of work that we do for them is how do we deal with the extra money that they don't need? Instead of just going out there and buy shiny objects that maybe they don't need, how do they prudently make use of this extra wealth? So people are thinking about philanthropy, they are thinking about charitable giving, and all sorts of this kind of things. Yeah, so the work is quite different, but it's very enjoyable work because it's deep work. We go very deep into what the client wants, and regardless of whether they are the mass affluent or the ultra high net worth, I think the biggest joy is when the work is completed, they have that peace of mind.
Right, so all our clients' work, or rather their needs are complex, right? And as you mentioned, it varies in complexity. And we use AUM as a gauge on complexity. So why do we use AUM, and is it foolproof?
I think I've explained this before. We use AUM as a measure of how complex the work may be. Now, it's not the best gauge, I know, right? But we think it's a good enough gauge because generally speaking, the more wealth a person has, the more complex. especially for the ultra high net worth. Sometimes they have so much wealth, but their wealth is not even in this part of the world. They have got assets in different jurisdictions.
Yeah.
And there are tax laws to consider. Sometimes their families are all over the world, and in giving, there are tax implications. Yeah, but for people who has got lesser wealth, life is easier. It's not that bad a thing, right? Because most of your wealth are in Singapore. And like I say, for people who have got lesser, there is really no need to pay us to do it, right? They can actually easily do it themselves, and usually we just give them general advice and point them the direction.
Right. From my experience, all those higher net worth, they usually have more, already have sophisticated instruments in their portfolio also. So that's also more work to break down what these are and whether it's appropriate for them.
Yeah, and the one thing I'll say, Isaac, is that in all these 20 over years that I've been doing this, the more wealth a person has, sometimes the more family complications there are, right? And being a parent myself, I really understand when our clients come to us, they want to give in the way to promote family harmony. That's at the back of their mind all the time. Yeah, so that can be quite complicated.
Hi listener, we hope you are enjoying this episode and the podcast series so far. If this podcast has been beneficial to you, please give us a rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast platform. And if you are watching this on YouTube, do like this video and subscribe to not miss our future episodes. Thank you, and let's get back to the episode.
So could you unpack a little more of what's the difference between what a mass affluent in terms of estate needs, right? What's the difference between the needs of a mass affluent and a high net worth? So you mentioned that they have more assets, etc. But what other tools are necessary for planning for high net worth?
I think for the mass affluent, or people who are generally having lesser, and I don't mean they're poor, right? They just have lesser as compared to the high net worth or even ultra high net worth. Most of the time, they only need estate planning. And estate planning is about the preservation of the assets, the creation of the assets to make sure that the family has enough to live on after they are gone, and the distribution of the assets. And to do that, most of the time, they just need a will to do it, to distribute the assets. There's very legacy planning. Just to be very accurate, there is very little financial legacy planning to be done for someone who has got lesser wealth. Because they have just enough for themselves to spend today, and then whatever they can't finish spending, they can leave behind for their children. It's quite unlikely they have things to give to their children today, right? Whereas for the high net worth, and especially ultra high net worth, and I keep repeating this, that they have got more than what they need, right? And so besides estate planning, they are also thinking about legacy planning, right? And legacy planning is not just about giving things away upon demise. Legacy planning includes giving things away when they are alive. And the very rich can do that because they have got more than enough for themselves.
Yeah.
Right? They will never finish spending. And so they have to think about, what are the things that I want to give today? And what are the things that I will only give later on? And how do I make sure if I give it today, I communicate a certain message? And because they have so much wealth, they don't want to give in a way whereby the children or the beneficiaries are no longer motivated to work. So things like that, right? So that's legacy plan. So it's quite different between the mass affluent and the high net worth or even the ultra high net worth.
Right. So what about the similarities between the three segments then? So we have talked about the differences. I'm sure there are some similarities between, of course there are overlapping aspects of it, but what is the main overarching similarity between the three segments, you think?
I think that few key things that I would say strings the three segments together that is similar would be, firstly, they are really looking for a trusted advisor. That's what they are looking for. The financial numbers are easy. There are software to do it, right? That's not the difficult part. But The difficult part is about getting these numbers out correctly, defining the needs that these numbers need to serve correctly. That's the difficult part. It takes someone who is skilled, someone who has got the right credentials, someone who is able to build very deep relationship with the clients, someone who has got very little self-interest, to be able to go deep into the lives of these clients. And these things cannot be done in one session, It's not I sit across the table and then I ask you a few questions and very quickly I can take out a product and sell it to you. It can't. That's why our advisory process takes about 2 months at least, right, to do it right. So I think the clients are looking for someone that they can trust, that they are able to share very openly about their deepest needs. And then when the advice is given to them, they know it's really for their interests. That's the similarity, regardless of the level of wealth. I dare say that even for not our clients, the man in the street, if they are looking for advice, they're looking for the same thing. They're looking for someone that they can trust.
Okay, Chris, so you shared a lot about trust, having a trusted advisor. So how do people know that they have found an advisor that they can trust?
That's a very good question. And I remember in season 2, I interviewed Suchai, who is the lawyer that we work with. And I define trust, and it's not from me. It's actually from this author, David Master, who wrote a book, Trusted Advisor. And I really like the way he defined trust. He defined trust into a trust equation, right? And he said that trust is CRI divided by SI, okay? And that means that trust is equals to credential plus reliable or reliability, right? Or let me say that again. C is actually credibility plus reliability plus I is intimacy divided by SI, which is self-interest, right? So I think for someone who is looking for a trusted advisor, they must find all these qualities in an advisor. Credibility. Well, credibility is about whether this person has the necessary, one of the things I would say, whether this person has the necessary credentials, knowledge to be able to do the work. It is also about experience, right? I mean, I'm not trying to say that someone who is young cannot do the job, but the advantage of someone who has been doing this for a long, long time is that they have got historical references, they have got experience they have gone through in their advisory journey, that they know what will work and what will not work. They have experienced many crises before. They know how to cope with a crisis. They have seen many, many clients before. And this collection of experiences will allow them to be a trusted advisor. That's credibility. Reliability is about you say what you mean and you mean what you say. That's really reliability. You say you will do something, you really mean it, right? Intimacy is about the ability to build that relationship and going deep into the lives of the clients such that they understand the entire context. Context is very important to be able to give good advice, right? And of course, self-interest, which is divided by self-interest. The higher the self-interest of an advisor, meaning to say that a lot of things that he does is really just for his own benefit and not for the benefit of the client, then you are not going to be able to win trust from the client. So clients are looking for advisors that tries with all means to mitigate any conflict of interest that they might have.
Let's unpack a bit more about reliability. I mean, we have a few cases where clients come to us and say that they get recommended this product from someone, right? From someone in the industry. And when they share the same thing to another person, even within the same company, they get a different recommendation. So that's why reliability is very important, because how do you build trust, right? If let's say you share the same need and you get two different answers, and it's very difficult to build trust with someone like that.
I think it's a good point because consistency also build reliability, right? And we're always very proud of ourselves when we say that, if our client comes to us and speak to 3 different advisors but tell them the same thing, they should leave with exactly the same advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I know for sometimes when our prospective clients, when they come to us, they share that that's a challenge for them, right, when they are with other financial institutions. Another thing about reliability that I want to touch on, which I forgot to touch on just now, Isaac, is, as advisors, we always tell clients that I will journey with you. I will partner with you. But what does that mean when I say I will journey with the clients? What that means is that you have to follow the client or meet the client on a regular basis for reviews, right? Because many things in life change. Unfortunately, we have seen clients who come and then maybe in a few years' time they get divorced. Life change. Children will grow up. Sometimes there'll be death in the family. Markets change. The world change. The geopolitical situation change. And the plan cannot be static. Even as we are doing this right now, our government just announced that there will be changes in our CPF.
Yeah.
Right? And we plan for our clients based on certain assumptions, and now it has changed. And just a few days ago, we were discussing how is that going to affect our planning? How are we going to, when we next meet the client for their regular progress meetings, what are some of the tweakings we need to do to adapt to the changes, right? Now, if an advisor is able to do that and journey with the clients throughout all seasons of their lives, then that builds reliability. And with reliability, of course, that contributes to trust.
Right. Thanks for sharing, Chris. I think I have to stop you there because
I will go on and on.
No, it's because the next episode we'll be talking about more about this, more about the industry.
We'll leave it to the next episode, and the next few episodes to talk more.
Yeah. So we hope you don't spill over to the next episode.
For sure.
Okay, so in the next episode, we will be talking about why there's so little trust in the industry when the work we do is arguably as important as the work in the medical field, for example, right? Taking care of your financial health is almost as important as taking care of your physical health.
Yeah, I think that's a very good question to ask. Because why do people look at us differently? We call ourselves professionals. We want to be trusted advisor, but why is it that people look at our industry quite differently from what you have mentioned, like the medical industry, the legal industry, the all these people who are specialists in their own right? Why do they look at them with a lot more trust than us, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be an interesting episode to explore this.
Yeah, we'll unpack why there's lack of trust in the industry, and perhaps maybe in our little ways see how we can
improve
fix
that
this
situation.
Yeah, improve this situation.
Okay.
Right. That's all for this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thank you so much, Chris, for taking the time today.
It's my pleasure.
To all our listeners, please remember to like and subscribe and stay tuned for the next episode.
All analysis, views, or opinions from interviews, recommendations, and other information broadcasted, podcasted, or published herein are provided for general information purposes only. Information expressed does not take into account any specific situation, particular needs, or objectives, and should not be construed as specific advice or recommendation. Information has been obtained from sources that are deemed to be reliable, but their accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed. Always consult with a qualified investment, legal, or tax professional before taking any action. Providend Limited does not accept any liability or any loss whatsoever arising from any use of the information broadcasted, or published herein. All contents and information contained herein may not be copied or reproduced in whole or in part by any means without prior written consent of Providend Limited.